Hey, this is Coach Brian with the Spot Athletics, here with the next Chalk Talk. Okay, what I want to talk to you guys today is habits. All right, so for those of you who know me, know I like to read a lot outside of work, and I've been reading a book lately. It's called The Power of Habit. I think this book is awesome, and I think it has opened my eyes and given me some insight into a couple of topics that deserve some attention. So, really, to me, the book does a great job of breaking down exactly what a habit is. But before we go into that, you have to remember that people are creatures of habit. Okay, everything we do and everything that we think about really comes down to a habit. Okay, so once you get that part down, then you can really start diving into why habits are very important in our everyday life. So, the book breaks it down, the habit, in a very easy and simple way to understand. Okay, so every single habit is going to have a cue, it's going to have a routine, and it's going to have a reward. Now, the craving, I'm not going to really touch on that right now, but it is a kind of important factor, more so when habits are being built. All right, so the first part, the cue, is simply is what is triggering this habit to begin. The routine is what you do when you get that cue, okay, and the reward is the reason why you're doing the habit in the first place. All right, now a good example that the book used when talking about habits is simply someone at work that notices they get a cookie every single day from the cafeteria. All right, so they're noticing that something is cueing them. Their routine is that they go to the cafeteria and they get a cookie every single day at work, and the reward, they're not really sure. The book brought up they're not really sure why. Now, when you're trying to examine and try to figure it out, there's a very simple approach that you can take to look at your habits and try to understand them. First, you can start changing your routine. Okay, so we're going to skip over the cue. We're going to go straight to the routine. Instead of walking to the cafeteria a certain way, maybe take another route. Okay, maybe one day instead of going to the cafeteria, don't go to the cafeteria. Maybe walk over to a friend's desk or something along those lines. Okay, after you change up the routine a little bit, you can start playing around with your rewards. Okay, instead of going to the cafeteria and getting a cookie, maybe try getting an apple, or don't go get any food at all, or maybe just go over to a friend's desk instead of going to the cafeteria and talk to them for 10 minutes. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're playing around with the reward. What that is going to do is it's going to help you figure out, are you actually going to the cafeteria to get a cookie because you're hungry, or is it maybe do you want the sugar, or is it do you just want some kind of food, or are you looking for maybe a social interaction? So if it's just you're hungry, the apple should do the exact same effect. You should feel satisfied after you eat the apple, just like you would if you ate the cookie. If it's not, it might be a social thing. So maybe if you go over and talk to your friend and you get that same satisfaction, maybe your habit is built off of you just need a break and you want a distraction as opposed to really wanting a cookie. Okay, so the reward really lets you know what are you getting out of the habit in the first place. After you get these two down, it becomes a lot easier to figure out your cue. All right, so once you can figure out your cue, you can really start figuring out when things are going to happen and why they're going to happen, and then how you can effectively change that. Now, most cues are going to be environmental or emotional, or something along those lines. So maybe it's a certain time of day, maybe it's when you're bored. Anything along those lines can be a reason why. The best recommendation for trying to figure that out is when you get the urge for that habit is to write it down. Where are you at? How do you feel? What are you doing? Okay. So with that, you can really kind of break down your habits and kind of see what's going on. Now, this applies because a lot of people have a lot of bad habits. If you guys watched Coach Bryce's Chalk Talk, he talked about inconsistent eating and how that would be detrimental to someone's health. If they know they have a bad habit of eating, they can also change their routine, they can change that reward, and hopefully try to figure out that cue, and then they can change that habit. Okay, habits are changeable. The big point of this, though, is you have to want to change that habit. Okay, so now I'm going to touch a little bit here. The craving. The craving comes in more so when habits are being created. A great example from the book was toothpaste. A lot of people don't think about this, but toothpaste got very popular by creating a craving. And that craving was a tingling, cool sensation that is caused by properties in toothpaste. If you think about it today, every single toothpaste has a cool and clean, refreshing feeling after you use it. What that's doing is it's giving you a craving. When that craving is created, all this happens, the cue, the routine, the reward, all comes into play, and you can create a habit. So craving is not so, it's important, but Really, all you need to worry about for now is the cue, the routine, and the reward. Okay, so I understand this was very vague, very quick overview, but I hope it helped. I hope it got you thinking a little bit and maybe gave you some insight into